Starting. We're
All
on
right.
air.
We are on air, and welcome to the CouncilCast for episode 28, recorded December 5th, 2017. And the Council is now in session. As with every week, we'll make arbitrary decisions about topics on science, technology, and random shit with little background or next to nothing as far as expertise. All CouncilCast decisions are final and have no bearing on anything. So to start off this week, we are going to be talking about some fracture-resistant concrete. I think Lucas might be interested in this.
That's actually why I got on tonight. I'm not gonna lie. I read that topic. I was like, I gotta weigh in.
Have you heard about this?
I
Take it away,
hadn't
then.
until I read that the article today. It was I mean, I'd like to see it other than just we can do a thing. There are three things in the concrete industry that I learned, and that's concrete's gray. It gets hard and it cracks. That's literally what my bosses taught me when I
feel like I didn't do a good service
when I made and sold concrete. So I don't know. Just how far are we talking as far as fracture resistant? Like it never cracks? Are we talking surface fractures? Are we talking? It seemed like they were talking about strength overall and being able to flex a little bit more. So it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, they don't really talk about anything in specifics. They just kind of say, hey, it's fracture resistant, and we did it by throwing sea urchin shells into it.
I went so far as to even I tried to read the scientific journal. That's unheard of. I don't ever check sources. So
the hell is that?
We don't check sources here.
I don't. I'm just being honest. That's how interested I was in the topic. I don't feel like I could glean much from that one article, though.
What I got from the article was that, did any of you as kids read the book called The Ear, the Eye, and the Arm?
That's a big negative.
No.
It was set in the future, and there was one guy who was very powerful with his ears, and he could hear really good. And the other guy could see really good, and the other guy was really strong. And that's that, and the fact that there was a mile-high building in the book are the two things I remember from it. And so that's all that I know about this topic, was that there's a mile-high building in a book that I read as a kid.
Let me ask you this question, Lucas, then. Is cracking in cement or in concrete what's causing us to not be able to build taller buildings?
No, and that's so it just depends. Like surface fractures are a lot of times that's just what it does. It doesn't damage the strength of the concrete. So it looks like they restructured the way that the cement is formed, and it doesn't just make it crack less, it makes it physically stronger. So you could potentially, and in compression, as well as, I believe it said, like flexurally, which you can't really do with concrete normally. So I think the theory is that they could either make things with less concrete now and have it maintain its strength, or we can build bigger, more, I don't know, more robust buildings than we can do currently. Yes, more bigger.
Good.
More bigger, better than Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, I don't know. How many? Oh, hi, Anthony.
Hi.
I don't understand. Isn't it the steel beams that are doing most of the holding up of buildings?
It just depends.
What buildings are made completely of concrete that they're like, I want to build this skyscraper out of concrete, and I also want it to fall down really soon.
So skyscrapers, yeah, you would build with steel, but
right. But I thought I read in the article they're like mile-high skyscrapers made out of concrete. Why? Cement? Excuse me.
No, it's concrete. Cement is an ingredient in concrete.
Good Lord.
But fracture-resistant cement could make the mile-high. Right. Yes. Keep going.
Right. Yeah.
Now I'm catching up.
So it's typically what you would build in concrete, and I don't know about skyscrapers, but you can build a lot of buildings with. You would use. What you do is you use a combination of steel and concrete. And if you've ever seen concrete being poured, a lot of times you see the rebar that they're tying in, and what they do is they put that in tension, and it compresses the concrete, because that's the only direction concrete is strong in is compression.
Yeah.
So the steel inside obviously has tensile strength, and so they put that under load, and it basically compresses the concrete for strength. Now, obviously, like you said, skyscrapers, you want steel because that's going to sway no matter what you do. If you've ever stood at the top of a tall building, you can feel them swaying. You don't want to do that in concrete, because that's especially.
I worked at a building that was only 18 stories up, and even that in a storm was like, well, it's been I love you, Kayla. It's been nice knowing you. Like
Kayla was his direct supervisor.
No, I was actually talking about your wife.
Oh, my wife. Okay.
Boy named Kayla.
So I can't like a concrete building of that height and in the spongy concrete. That sounds great because it's not swaying in the storm.
Yeah.
Spongy concrete.
I don't know. It sounds like it would be. Like I said, the way they structure they alter the, I don't know what the heck you call it, but the actual makeup of the concrete so that or the cement, it's formed differently.
I know they're talking about skyscrapers, but would this also be good for roads? Like, would they be able to replace roads so that they wouldn't have to like refinish roads or relay roads so that they wouldn't have to do it more than 10, 15 years, like much longer between?
That's a good question. I don't know, because I think it is the heating and cooling, at least in the Midwest, that you start to get that expansion, and then there's a crack, and hundreds of thousands of cars drive over it a day, and that crack turns into a hole, and then obviously you gotta replace it. But so I don't know if that would go along the same vein there, that it could handle more of the heating and cooling and absorb that. Like I said, and from what I read in the article, they said they couldn't even really extrapolate much from it because all of their samples that they did were really small. So it's not like they poured a
really, really expensive.
I don't doubt that.
I just hope they don't run out of sea urchins.
Yeah, they have to go get a whole bunch of people, go pick up sea urchins and grind them into dust.
I think that they use the structure of the sea urchin to I don't think they actually were grinding up sea urchins to put into the concrete. I think it was. I got that as well. It was the make. Yeah, it's the nano structure inside.
I'm pretty sure they're grinding up sea urchins.
If you say so.
The news flash is sea urchins go extinct after one building is created.
You know what,
that
guys?
Building will be a mile high, though. Damn it!
I think this show kind of stinks. It needs Axe body spray.
Aren't you supposed to read some material after that?
Nope, that's all I had. That's all they provided. They didn't pay for a very long spot.
To vote on fracture-resistant concrete, are we a thumbs up or thumbs down?
Why not?
And Lucas has to talk.
A solid why not?
I'd love to. Yeah, I'd love to see that. Also, I'm really regretting that I don't have a camera now because I too am wearing a red shirt. So,
red shirt.
Get the memo.
And I honestly regret not having a delicious Doritos Loco taco. Doritos Loco. Get it at your nearby Taco Bell.
Save the sea urchins. Where'd you find them?
Save the sea urchins from Lucas.
Where did you find that?
Oh my god,
that's impressive.
That's good stuff right there.
I'm a wizard.
All right, so moving on from Doritos, Infiniti introduces a new variable compression engine. So we talked last week about Tesla coming out with their new sports car. What do we think about this? They now have some new internal combustion technology, kind of along the same lines as Mazda with their compression, their new internal combustion engine, but this guy now does variable compression to supposedly improve fuel economy. Is this cool? Do we care?
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't read this article.
I don't understand what any of these terms are.
it feels like car and go power. The thing for me is that when I hear that a car goes fast, all I can think is Yeah, that's what
But
they're
you see,
supposed to do.
it's not about going faster. It's about getting more out of a smaller engine. So the theory behind this is that you have an internal combustion engine, just like you have in your normal car,
Okay.
and it works by compressing air and gas, and it explodes it, and then you make power. The point is that right now your compression that you have in your engine is at a fixed amount because of the way that they're built. And Infinity has apparently come up with a way where they can vary that amount of compression inside of that cylinder. And so what it can allow you to do is that for low compression ratios, you tend to get higher performance, whereas at higher compression ratios, you can get better efficiency. So most today cars are set at a single compression ratio, and it's like that no matter what conditions you're driving in. The idea here is that it could go to a low compression ratio for when you're wanting to accelerate really fast, but if you're out on the highway, your compression ratio could be much higher, therefore giving you better fuel efficiency. And
Yeah,
so
that
what
sounds.
they could get
neat.
they could get equivalent power, I think, out of a inline 4, 2-liter inline 4 as the same as a V6.
How many horses is that?
They were saying they can get a peak power of 268 horsepower with 280 foot-pounds of torque out of a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine.
We're in business now.
Yes.
Oh, you beat me to it by like a few seconds, Lucas.
Nice.
There's a technical. What?
With the red shirt and everything.
I know.
Damn
I
it!
just had a final with the red shirt.
I'm about to throw up.
So, I mean, the technology sounds really cool. How they're able to switch back and forth, and how they're able to you're able to get a lot of fuel efficiency and also power, and also I watched
Doesn't
the
matter.
movie
Is it
Baby
too much?
Driver recently, and that was the only time that I felt like I want to drive fast. That's how boring I am. But I mean, the technology is cool. Are there any applications like for the future, like NASA does with their technology?
Well, they actually have
Tang?
announced that this is going to be in a car, their QX50, which is an SUV, and they're going to put it in this car, I think, starting, I'm trying to read where it was. I want to say it was like next year. So they've obviously perfected the technology enough to put it inside of a production level car. But I think that's about it.
All right, gents, I gotta drop.
All right.
Good seeing you.
Goodbye.
Thanks for joining the council. Goodbye. Yeah.
So I guess the question is it too little, too late? Like, is our electric cars far enough ahead that this doesn't really matter, or are internal combustion engines going to be around forever? Is this a way to keep them around?
Yeah. I mean, when we're still measuring stuff in horsepower, you just have to ask yourself why. Like, are we really going to round up 250 horses to try and take over what this car can do?
What?
Yeah, sorry. I just don't. My vote is just this because I don't get it.
I'm voting up because I like new car tech, so I hope for better economy. Lucas is.
I'm not voting
apparently
because
dead.
I wasn't listening.
Good.
You have to
One-
vote,
Alright.
Lucas.
One
You have to
abstained.
vote.
Yeah,
cannot abstain.
then I vote question.
Nope.
Is this or
Is that
this?
not
I
I
think
mean,
Lucas
technically,
should
you were in the
logo
middle there.
up or down.
At some point, you were in the middle. Can I vote? Can I vote there?
Sure, go for it.
Sure.
Right there. in the middle.
Anthony did that last week.
All right. So sticking on with the kind of the car theme, the next thing up is Volvo wants to sell you a car subscription.
Now
That-
this I can get behind.
Really?
So how is this, besides
That
the insurance
sounds-
aspect, how is this any different than leasing a car?
That's what I wanted
Because
to bring up.
But it covers insurance and maintenance.
So does leasing besides insurance?
Well you
I mean,
can
so
still
only addition is
lease.
insurance.
So my concern is contract. Like,
I think the benefit is with the subscription, you get a new car. You don't have to go trade in your lease and get a new lease for a new car. Is the idea?
You're just already guaranteed. You're just locked into. I just get to move on to the next vehicle when I'm ready to move on to the next vehicle, or when the contract's up or whatever.
I think so.
I mean, isn't that kind of like a lease?
Yeah, but the lease, you have to technically sell your lease back and then
You do.
pick out a new lease and everything like that. Like, you have to re-sign paperwork. Here, you're just, give me a new car for $700 a month.
And
or whatever
they keep tacking what they do with the leases, because we just had a lease, and got out of our lease, and what they did was, the way it was looking was that at the end, whatever you still owed was just going to could be rolled into the cost of a new lease. Or you could pay it off, or you could opt to buy the car. And it doesn't look like that's the option with this. It seems slightly different. It is definitely a marketing campaign, because they're like, what if we just change the rules on a lease? And the marketing team was like, what if we say it's like getting a phone? People like phones.
But even with
That's
most cell phone carriers, you own the device. You're just paying a monthly subscription to use it on their network.
not now. They're all going to. You don't own the device anymore. You're renting it from them, and you return it to them at the end of your contract. And I hate that. I would hate it even more if it's not your car.
Oh. So I'm looking at another site here, and it says there's apparently no down payment. So for a conventional lease, you must have to put a down payment down.
Oh, yeah.
And here, there's no down payment. You just put a $500 deposit and nothing else.
I mean,
Or $500
down
payment.
Yeah, but do you get your deposit back at the end?
I don't know.
I mean, I would hope so, because I think deposit tends to refer to the fact that you're going to get it back. But
That would be my guess, I guess.
basically, I think this is just an updated lease. This is, what it looks like is like it's just a modified lease program, which is good.
Lease plus insurance, which I guess is not bad if you don't want to worry about separate insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Now, where the downside could be is you could probably save money on insurance by bundling it with your other stuff, like your home insurance and
right.
multiple car discount and all that crap.
I gotta believe that's where well, if they're not making money already on the car, that's going to be a big pickup for them.
Right.
They're hedging their bets that less people are going to get in an accident.
Now, where I see this being useful is for like my new job. When I get a car stipend a month, which happens to be $600, I could just go get one of these and basically drive depending again on the contract length, I could just continue to drive a new car, also on the mileage cap, because I'm assuming they have a mileage cap.
I don't know. It doesn't say.
I didn't feel like.
If there is no mileage cap, then that's where this beats out a lease hands down.
Right.
Yeah.
Just drive it and bring it back. And maybe, I mean, Volvo is known for cars that last forever. And so maybe that's what they're capitalizing on. Like, we make something that's going to have great resale value and is going to last forever. So why not just let people drive it as much as they want on this lease system, and we keep them coming back and paying us money regularly forever?
Yeah, it's a good way to make money, and people don't want to have to worry about it's doing any lease or being locked into a lease. I'm assuming the subscription you can cancel whenever versus a lease where you're locked in for a certain period of time. So you want to rent or you want to subscribe to the car for 6 months, great. Go do 6 months and be done with it. Your oil's covered, your damage is covered. You don't have to buy insurance for 6 months or 3 months or whatever your length is. It's
now,
an interesting idea.
Again, like Enterprise, I know, because again, I was looking into this. They do monthly car rentals.
Sure.
Unlimited mileage. Like, again, the difference really is the insurance, where you know, obviously you have to provide insurance for the vehicle or pay extra through them.
If you rent the car through Enterprise for a month and you need oil changes done, or do you just not even worry about it? If you rented it for like 3 months in a row, would you have to bring the car back? And you drove
I mean,
like 50,000 miles in 3
Probably.
months? Would they be
I
like,
mean,
hey,
you could bring
you
it back after every month. Be like, okay, I need a new car now.
or do you just run it all the way into the ground because it's a rental? Nobody gives a shit.
Right.
Don't do that. I buy my cars from Enterprise.
Anthony is now going to do this to all the cars so that Lucas does not have the option to buy
I'm
any
only
good
gonna do it in
cars.
Kansas City. I'm gonna make sure I like back
You
him into things and
You're gonna fly from Des Moines into Kansas City and then drive to the home office.
hey, I'll be down in Kansas City next week.
Okay.
Perfect time.
Don't rent a car. You're not allowed to.
So is anybody interested in a subscription service like this? Is it? I don't know.
Where's my
Yeah.
camera? That's a.
You
Can
found
I
it.
give two? Am I allowed to give two?
I agree.
That's
I'm
how I
kind of
feel about
worried.
that.
There are
That
very
worries
few
me.
rules. It's just the thumbs have to happen.
I
So,
think
yeah.
I've broken most of the rules. It seems like. No
Well,
camera.
it's your first time. You know, it's your first time back.
I'm gonna give it a sideways thumb because they're leaving out a ton of information on
Yeah.
like I said, mileage and how it basically differs from a lease exactly because
I don't
I
know.
think- I think-
it would take a lot of information to sell me on this. I was pretty pissed when phones went this way. I just want to own my devices. You know, where computer games are already that way with some of the crap that they pull, where they say, "Well, you don't really own it. You're just paying a subscription to us to play our game, and we can take it away from you because you broke the users agreement or whatever the case." I just feel like we're headed towards a society where you rent everything, you don't own anything. And
You know, that's a good point. What if, like, the subscription service, what if their user agreement said you'll never speed, and that's dependent on your insurance that they're also providing to you, and if you speed and they find out, they're like, "Nope, you're done."
right.
or it's like a
Mm.
$200 fee on top of your of
Yeah.
your speeding ticket.
That would kind of suck.
No,
Yeah, I'm gonna change mine to a thumbs down.
I said, I think it could be useful for
I think
some,
I think
certain
a
groups of
sideways
people.
thumb is okay. More information needed.
but more information would be needed. 'Cause
Yeah,
like
I'm
I-
gonna change mine to a sideways thumb then, because
Wow, you are really easy to sell.
like I said,
I've got some beachfront property. Your name on
where do
it.
I sign?
Like I think businesses could probably capitalize on this versus like with all company vehicles. If you've got 20 company cars that you're paying insurance plus upkeep and and the cost of the vehicle versus just $600 a month for a vehicle and covers everything.
Yeah,
Why
I
not?
think.
Too expensive for companies, though, at $600 a month.
Well, I mean that's a Volvo. If it catches on, you can see a whole range of things from people.
Well,
Right.
well, yeah, that's true. All right, moving on. Just a PSA here. I want to jump in. So there was a big vulnerability in the latest version of macOS software. So I know Mac has patched this, or Apple has patched this already on everybody's computers. But if you have not run your updates, you probably should. And at least go through the full restart process on your computer afterwards. Because what this is doing is that apparently anybody can walk up to your computer and type in, if you have it locked or they turned it on for the first time, they can type the username as root and hit enter, and it logs them in as the root super user.
That's a bit of an oversight.
What I want to know though
Who
is,
finds these things?
as a Windows user, how does this affect me?
It does not.
Well, if you have Boot Camp installed so that you can run, oh no, that only works one way. It doesn't.
You had to listen to this little blurb. That's how.
Well, I update my stuff all the time, but my Mac right now, the other day I was showing Kayla a video that I had exported, and I was like, here, watch this. Tell me what you think. And she pushed the space bar, and then the left speaker blew out. And so I have to take this sucker back into Apple. And also my internet has been really laggy and weird. And I thought maybe it's just our building or something. But Kayla's computer has worked fine. She's had 0 issues. And so I think that I think there are bigger issues with my computer right now. Makes me sad. Maybe it's because I downloaded Rocket League.
Probably.
That's probably it.
Probably so. Luckily, I deleted that. So
make sure you update your computers, update your Macs, do it, and update everything else because it's probably a big deal. So thumbs up for updates.
For updates.
Because
nobody else cares. Good.
All right. So something that you can put into your computer, though, is the Samsung's answer to Intel Crosspoint. So if you guys aren't familiar with Intel's Crosspoint, it's a very, very fast phase change memory that is basically almost as fast as RAM, but they can produce it in quantities and at pricing levels similar to NAND flash. So it's essentially non-volatile memory that they are talking about making into an actual storage device that they can sell. So that's Intel's side, and Samsung has apparently come up with their own, which they are calling Z-NAND, to kind of compete with that. So who doesn't want more fast storage?
I knew some of the words in that article.
There's lots of pictures. There's not a lot of words.
I knew some of the pictures. I did not.
Yes,
the biggest thing that they're talking about here is I've heard a lot about this on the Crosspoint side of it is that right now today in your computer you've got your memory and your hard drive, and right now when your CPU has to talk to the memory, it's talking to the memory, but if you turn your computer off, anything in memory gets lost.
Right.
So if you have a crash or if you have anything that's happening during a write on your computer that's writing to memory and it crashes, you lose all that information. So that's how you sometimes end up with corrupt files and stuff like that if your computer crashes. The idea here is like, what if you just totally got rid of your hard drive or combined your hard drive with your memory almost, so that your memory doesn't get lost when the computer restarts, when it loses power.
So
basically,
Elon Musk is right. The machines are going to be sentient and are going to be able to kill us any day now. If the computer can remember after I do a force quit on while it's writing a death code,
I was doing something
just
here.
Don't turn it back on.
Just don't ever turn it back on. Oh, okay. Good point. All right. Well, in that case, yeah, sure. Why not to this?
I'm gonna give it.
I like fast memory. I just want it to be cheaper. So
I'm gonna give it
I
one
do
thumb
like-
sideways.
I do like
because
fast memory. Like right now, I have 32, 42, somewhere around 50 or more terabytes of storage in my house for all the video crap that I do.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, any clients, it's not crap. The video projects I'm working on. But like, there's just a ton of projects and a ton of storage for media that I can't get it to run onto my computer and in through the software fast enough ever.
Mm-hmm.
And if it was cheaper to do all flash storage, I would have a
50
RAID
terabytes of
system.
flash.
Yeah, 50 rated terabytes of flash storage, and could make movies forever. So
Yeah, and this would be, imagine taking, if you had a 50 terabytes worth of flash storage. Now imagine cutting the speed that you can access that flash storage into about a tenth of that speed. Now you're going even faster.
that's insane.
And
it's
that's
cheaper?
essentially- Well, not right now. It's more expensive, but you'd get performance benefits.
Brother.
Basically, this memory, this storage, this NAND can operate so fast that it never has request build up. Like you can just keep asking for it as fast as the CPU can ask for something, and it'll keep going. It'll just be like, here you go, here you go, here you go. It's so fast that we're gonna have to like refigure out how to do software and CPU memory management, because literally the memory can react faster than this software and the CPU can actually ask it for things.
That's good progress.
So
Faster is better.
I'm giving you a sideways one because I don't understand it well enough. But when I buy Matt's old parts and pieces out of his computer, I'll probably end up with one of these. So.
Matt will probably
What
have-
don't you understand about faster? I
Oh,
thought you were all for faster with the car.
I don't know if this is. I mean, it's. I'm not. It's not the technology. It's Samsung's technology. There.
Okay.
Does
All
that,
right,
does
fair
that
enough.
satisfy it?
hating
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Samsung. Okay.
Yeah, with my Samsung phones and tablet upstairs. I hate them.
They're the worst.
Brought to you by Samsung.
I was just gonna say, do I have a
Speaking of terrible companies,
brought to you by Sam?
Great segue, man.
speaking of terrible companies, we have Facebook apparently launched a new messenger app for kids this week. So
Nice.
I think you're probably the only one with kids here, Lucas.
Yeah,
what
was
do you
that
think
sigh
about
audible enough?
what do you think about your kids having a messenger app?
I
through
think that's
Facebook?
terrible. I think there's too much exposure to Facebook now as it is. Well, obviously I don't use it much, but I was kind of against posting too much with my wife. You know, posting pictures of our child. I just think there's too much exposure as it is now. You know, I'm trying to envision basically having all of my childhood photos in mom's old photo books on the internet for everybody to see all the time. I don't think I really want that. And I really don't think, I don't know what we're going to do as far as a phone. She's already pushing for a tablet for him, and I'd rather he be doing other more constructive stuff, I feel like.
Buy him an abacus for Christmas.
That is a great idea.
So
I might just buy
guess,
one and mail it to you. Merry Christmas.
I guess I just don't get why they're doing this.
They're trying to compete with Snapchat. They want.
But
I
it's
know
not
exactly why
competing
they're
with
doing
Snapchat
this.
because they have parental controls on it. Snapchat's like, you want to do ephemeral messaging? Here you go.
Gross.
Honestly, I think it's to walk them straight into being. It's gonna
In
gather
Facebook.
information starting at age 4, and it's gonna walk them straight into using Facebook instead of any other social media. It's a long term.
It is
I think you're
exactly
right.
the reason why they had to get rid of Joe Camel when we were kids. Because they were marketing cigarettes to children. Do you any of you remember Joe Camel? He was
Yeah.
so cool. He had the leather jacket and he had the
Smoked
motorcycle,
cigarette.
and the other hot camel ladies always wanted to hang out with him. Man, I wanted
he
to
was a
be
smoker,
Joe
though.
Camel, but he smoked. And so I was conflicted because that did not, live up to my
I think
Captain
you might be
Planet.
older than we are.
Am I? Oh, I must be. So I remember
I
seeing
don't
Joe
remember Joe
Camel
Camel.
commercials.
I remember Joe Camel. I just don't ever remember looking up to him. I
man,
don't.
he's so cool.
Maybe I just never wanted to be another species.
I was always confused why he had to be a camel. Yes, that's our guy.
Nice.
He's so cool.
Look at how
So
cool
cool.
he is. Oh man, he just looks.
Yeah. What
He's
was it
cool.
about the camel that?
Well, that's the Camel brand
I
cigarette.
know, but
so-
I mean,
I don't know.
It just seems like a weird
But-
mascot for cigarettes.
Well, kids love the camel, so they want.
I can't think of one story about a camel.
I
can't-
can.
What?
Joe Camel
Joe
rode a
Camel?
motorcycle.
So is
That's all you
Facebook
need to know.
is Facebook the new camel? Is that what you're saying?
Joe in Facebook is
Get
trying to put.
hooked on Facebook.
Yeah, they're giving kids a gateway drug into the real deal when they become of age to have a real Facebook account.
Man, I've taken it so far that I refuse to I refuse to give any input to ads that ask for it. There's interactive ads on Roku and many of the different video streaming things we use. I won't do it on YouTube when they say, hey, what would you like to
No,
I realize that
Definitely not.
most of my information is already out there and in other people's hands, but I want to contribute to that as little as possible, and giving my kid a Facebook account at the age 5 or whatever they're aiming at to just inundate them sounds
So-
awful.
Does it make a difference to you if it's not actually making a Facebook account for your kid?
No, because
Nope.
the drive is the same.
Still
The
on
end
Facebook in
goal is to monetize my kid. I don't. There's it's weird. There's so many things that you hear before you have kids that you say, okay, yeah, whatever. But a lot of them have really struck a chord with me now. I eat terrible. I always have, and I don't really care. I know I should eat better, but when it's like, oh, can he have more cookies? I'm like, nah, he doesn't need any. He doesn't need more cookies. That's not very healthy. I'm so protective, and I don't, obviously eventually that stuff's going to be out there, but I'd rather delay it as long as possible. I don't think there's anything that could sell me on giving him a messenger style anything.
It's basically
I don't see a need for it either. With all the technology, I mean, we use FaceTime on my wife's phone. It just if he wants to talk to family, he can use FaceTime, and we'll sit there together and talk to our family as a group.
And I'm assuming the idea is that this is for kids to, like, I'm assuming older than your kids, I would say, but kids who probably have their own.
It's under 13 though. I mean, because Facebook, that's the limit. You got to be older than 14 to use Facebook, and this was for the group below that.
How hard is it to just go sign up and say, yeah, I'm
14.
So
Right.
actually,
Yeah,
that's
kinda-
really
Look at Steam's the age of everyone on Steam. Everybody was born January 1st. Whatever age that they scrolled down to that got them to be older than 18.
So
Right.
that's actually a really good point, because I think that I knew somebody who actually had done that and said they signed up. They signed up before they said they were older than what they were, but it got them into a lot of really weird situations, because now they're friends with people on Facebook who are significantly real life older than them, and Facebook won't let you go back, as far as I know, and change your age after you've created your account.
Yeah.
Well, so I think the purpose, and besides Facebook trying to gather information, because I mean obviously that's what they're trying to do. That's how they make money. Is that, and it gives parents an option to go, yeah, you can use this Facebook account, and we're going to try to distract you from doing it yourself, because this one has parental limits.
And it does look like there were going to be some checks and balances and some limits as far as having the parents be more in control. And if there was ever I saw it said if there was a complaint lodged, the not only did it go to Facebook or whomever, it goes to the parent account as well. So if they say somebody's harassing them or whatever, it immediately notifies the parent. But one of the things that it referenced was the whole YouTube thing. And my nephew uses the kids' YouTube, and there was a slew of stuff that got on there with like Mickey Mouse and in a pool of blood and Spider-Man peeing on Elsa from Frozen. That was all in the kids area that's supposed to be protected and monitored, and somehow it slipped through the cracks. And it's just people will find a way to exploit this stuff.
Right, I agree.
Yeah, and on top of that, like especially with it being Facebook, what's not to stop a predator from setting up an account as a kid to chat with another kid and be a big weirdo about it.
Right, to say, I mean, especially if the account, the parent has to sign off on it. They're under 13, so it's not like they're going to have any way to verify that the kid's real. So Joe Pervert, sorry, I should probably change his name to like Andrew Pervert instead of Joe Camel. I don't want to besmirch his name.
Don't
call him
besmirch the Camel.
He says he's got a kid, junior pervert, and off he goes. He's I don't know. It just seems like a recipe for disaster.
I agree.
Well, that's social media in general, but
I'm a big vote down because I don't like this. I think it's dumb. They should cancel it and burn in a fire.
What are you doing?
I think at the heart of it, they were artificially creating a problem that they're like, look what we solved. We solved this huge problem that you had with your kids. And we're like, no, my kids just don't use that because they don't.
But that's just it. That is what Zuckerberg has been doing from the beginning. Don't you know how hard it is to stay in touch with your friends? Don't worry, I have this thing that makes it easy for you. Oh, you don't like the new interface? Don't worry. You guys are having problems with the way Facebook is set up. Don't worry, we'll change
Or
the
the-
whole profile around so that you're very confused about it. That'll make
Or the way we show you news, or the way that we're showing you news stories, or your friends' topics.
I don't even know what my
Yeah.
messages. I have a bunch of messages that I can't read because I refuse to download the app on my phone. So I don't even know what they say. It's like, no, you should really update. I'm like, no, I don't
Yeah.
think so. I don't need another app on my phone. Thanks.
I'm with you. I was a little pissed off when they pulled the whole Messenger app out of the standard Facebook app, and now you have to have 2 Facebook apps on your phone. I'm like, really? This is.
Yep.
I refuse to download this.
Yeah.
I also was upset when they did that. I only really use it for a D&D group chat. It is one of the easiest things to do with like 10 people.
Yeah.
Sure.
But
All right.
outside of that, I don't see the purpose. I'll
Yeah.
just text somebody.
Yeah.
Dude, I use Discord as a messenger app
Right.
all day long. Texting and Hangouts still I use to talk with Jake exclusively, or sometimes Anthony and Dave sends me hearts on occasion.
Oh.
But
Yeah.
literally, if you look at the past 6 or 7 messages dating back to like July of last year, it's only Dave sending me a heart every couple months.
I agree. I would say legitimately Discord has taken over all of my
Silent.
chat, and I'm kind of concerned what would happen if they ever went away.
We'd find something else. But yeah.
It's fair. All right, last topic for tonight is I think kind of it's a really weird
This was an excellent
situation.
read.
So Daimler, the company that owns Chrysler, what they did was they apparently rented a Tesla Model X, not from Tesla and not from a rental agency, but through one of those like friend sharing, ride sharing apps.
I didn't know that was even a thing until I read this.
Yeah, so they rented it through that, and they actually disassembled it and reassembled the car, and they also did a whole bunch of other stuff to it, such as taking it to a test track, a whole bunch of things that was against the.
Did I see something about heat stress? Like they
They
tested.
put it in an oven.
Why wouldn't they just buy one? Why did they use a rental?
I don't know.
know.
They're like, we'll spend $30 and get one versus spending 30 grand.
When they rented it for 7 weeks
Oh,
Yeah.
from I don't that
I bet they use the monthly rental program.
that's even shittier. Like let's rent it from this nice couple. Who
And they
happens to
totally
do this?
damaged it.
Yeah, they said it came back damaged with like $18,000 worth of damage on it, plus $2,000 that it was going to lose in value, and
Oh my gosh.
I think the
Yeah,
owner ended up writing a $100,000 bill for it.
Yeah, I mean, what they did to it is just absolutely. I mean, I don't know if I was to put this really turns me off from ever wanting to have anybody else rent my car from me, because it's like, what the hell are they
So-
gonna do?
How did they return it damaged? Like, you build cars for a living. How did you not say, hey, we should really be very careful when we disassemble this and reassemble it the right way? Like, because we're gonna give it back to somebody, and we're hoping they don't notice.
I bet they did the tree test where they hit a tree with it.
Well, how much damage can it take? Oh no, ours can withstand way more damage than that. We're fine. We don't have to worry about electric cars yet.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
hmm.
It's very odd. I just don't understand the reason.
I mean, it's cool that they did it, right?
What did they charge them for taking it to the track? $1,000 per day because they took it to a test track.
Yeah, something like $1,000 a day for each day it was on the track.
Oh man!
So wait, who charged? So Tesla.
the owner.
Oh,
No,
the owner.
because
He
they
wrote
so
a bill and sent it to Daimler.
I think they at some point they randomly checked the GPS location of it and found out it was out of the range that it was supposed to be. So the guy started watching it, and then he said they saw it being taken on a test track, or several. I guess I don't know. There was a couple,
Right.
and they were just watching what was happening to the car via GPS. That's another thing that I don't know. How did they not suspect that was on the car?
So yeah, and I think this was rented through the company Sixt, SIXT, and I know I've seen these guys at the airport, like in the rental car areas. So I don't know how that ever got through, and somebody said it was okay.
I mean, it's obviously a breach of contract. So
Everything about it was a breach of contract.
Right.
They took it out of
It's like,
range. They dismantled the car. Although they probably didn't exclusively call that out. They might be okay. That might be the only thing they get away with, because it didn't exclusively say you can't take my car apart.
Gosh.
I mean, at that point, you might as well just buy one if you want.
Yeah.
Like, that's how that typically works. If you want to do competitive analysis, just go buy one.
Yeah.
Hard.
I mean, I like the idea though. Why buy one when you can do it for cheaper? Just make sure you put it back together, not damaged next time.
I couldn't tell, like, the piece at the beginning said there was a note in the
Yeah, they left a
box
note.
that said they got they got bumped in a parking lot. Like, that's what got them caught. They got hit in the parking spot for parking terribly.
So I don't even know what to say. I'm going to say thumbs up because I think it's a genius idea.
I enjoyed reading about their stupidity. That's what's getting a thumbs up for me.
But that guy got a raise. He's like, you know how I can save us 30 grand?
Let's just rent this thing instead of buying it.
Even if we have breach of contract,
it'll still be cheaper than buying it.
It'll still be cheaper than buying a Tesla. All right, let's do it.
We don't have to get rid of it either.
All right. I think that is going to call this week to an end. So I'm going to now declare that the council meeting is adjourned. If you want to check out any past episodes of CouncilCast, you can go to councilcast.org, where all of our podcasts are recorded and stored for future perusal. And you can also find all of the audio files on iTunes. If you have a topic or would like the council's decision, you can email us at councilcast@gmail.com or connect on Twitter at the CouncilCast or Facebook by searching the CouncilCast. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.
You may.
Goodbye.